The final chapter on JFK. Chapter 20, Segment 2, Strange Acts and Admissions. Part 2.
Thanks for tuning back in. We're going to pick up where we left off right now.
As this segment is continuing, we are dropping further and further down into strange acts. Now, William Manchester, a famous author, was hired by the Kennedys to write the full and complete account of John Kennedy's death in a book entitled The Death of a President. And as part of preparation to write the book, Manchester met with hundreds of people and interviewed them. The only person that he was not able to meet and not able to interview and who did not want to voluntarily discuss questions with Manchester was President Lyndon Baines Johnson. Manchester finally got Johnson to agree to sit down for an interview, but before that occurred, Johnson insisted that he have a fill-in sit in his spot where he would be asked questions by Manchester, and Johnson would be outside in another room listening, and he listened to Manchester's questions to the fill-in Lyndon Johnson. And after hearing those questions from Manchester, Lyndon Baines Johnson refused to be interviewed by an author as to the events that he knew concerning the Kennedy assassination. Beginning with Johnson's 1964 presidential campaign, Lyndon Johnson became fearful that he himself would be assassinated, and he did not want to step off a plane in front of crowds, and he was obsessed with the notion that the survivors of the Kennedy family would be the ones plotting to kill him. Why Johnson would harbor such paranoia about the Kennedys is not precisely known, but there may have been a reason to his madness. Things got so bad with Johnson that two of his senior aides, Richard Goodwin and Bill Moyers, became so alarmed with Johnson's acts and state of mind that they secretly and unknown to each other turned to psychiatrists for advice as to what was causing Johnson's behavior. They both were told the same diagnosis. Lyndon Johnson had a classic textbook case of paranoid integration. And of course, the suspicions about Johnson being involved in John F. Kennedy's assassination were always suspected by his widow, Jackie Kennedy. Jackie took her two children and got on a plane and said she was leaving the United States because it was not a place for raising children. And she moved to Europe, where she quickly married Aristotle Onassis and did not return to the United States until Lyndon Baines Johnson was dead and buried.
But let's end with just one more strange act. And that is after Johnson's Warren Commission completed their work and all of the evidence had been reviewed, it wasn't released to the public, but Johnson stated, I'm going to lock it away, and it's not going to be released to the public until the year 2039. Now, that's been changed by more recent presidential decrees, assuming there's anything left. And of course, in hindsight, if it's locked away for that period of time, who knows what was purged from that evidence over the last 50 or 60 years. With that said, I'll see you in the next segment, which is 4 or more.